Hello everybody, my name's Steve, I'm the British Railroader and welcome to the December 2022 update. So let's begin with the news, and the main news this month has been the rail strikes that have affected the UK. They've impacted virtually everywhere. You would have seen from my last video that my train spotting trip to Edinburgh Waverley Station was a little bit of a washout. I managed to see a few trains, but not as many as you would normally expect. Unfortunately, the strike action looks like it's going to carry on through to the new year. I'm hoping that it quietens down a little bit in January, mainly because my birthday's in January and I will be wanting to go and see some trains, but we will just have to wait and see. But yes, that is the main news for December 2022. Modelling updates. There aren't really any modelling updates for this month. Unfortunately, because I was away and we've had Christmas, I've not really had time to do much. But under new stuff, we're going to be looking at the workbench, because you might have noticed in the opening titles, a new green engine has appeared here in the train room. Here we are down on the workbench, and we're looking at my newest locomotive. So this was my Christmas present. This is an HO GP38-2 in New York and Atlantic Railroad livery. So the New York and Atlantic Railroad runs on Long Island. It's I'm going to say the freight operation for the Long Island Railroad, which isn't entirely true, because it's not run by the same organisation that runs the Long Island Railroad. But they basically sold off the franchise. So this company has the rights to run it. The model itself is one of their older models. It's very, very basic. There's no grab irons, there's no pilot detail, and there are certain things on it that need changing, but that's what I'm going to be working on. Now, I've already fitted a sound decoder, which is a Soundtrack Tsunami PNP8 with the EMD1 sounds, and it's been programmed so it's got a EMD 645 non-turbo prime mover. It's got a K5LA horn. The person who I contacted just to make sure I got the right horn is a guy who goes by the name Retired Railfan Train Horn Guy on YouTube. I will put a link to his YouTube channel on screen. But he's a really friendly guy, and I just contacted him. But he lives on Long Island. He films most of these trains, and I just contacted him and said, do you happen to know what type of horn this particular engine has? And he got straight back to me and said, yep, it's a KL5A. So that's what I've got on here, a KL5A. Why not? Let's get at least the right horn sound. But things that need changing. So I will be adding grab irons. The cab reef here is green on this model, which is correct for the locomotive a few years back, but I want it as it is today. So that needs to be repainted white. So the first thing I will do is mask all of this off and just paint it with my airbrush. As I said, add the grab irons. The horn itself is completely the wrong horn, but getting hold of models of K5LA horns over here in the UK is difficult. They come up occasionally on eBay, but if I see one, I will obviously get one. But that one can stay there for the time being. I'm hoping to add lift rings to the top. That needs 11, and I think I've got 10. But there are ways around these things, so we will wait and see. Just moving on to the pilot beams here. Now, if you can see, these ones here have got these bits coming out, and they're not accurate. I mean, as it is, there's a big gap in the pilot beam. That was to let the chassis in and out, and I've just made some adjustments already to the chassis so that doesn't have to happen. So I'm going to have to very carefully remove these, but make sure I leave the pilot in place, and then I'm going to replace it with this. So let me just focus on that. This is a 3D printed part. This is, I believe they call it a CSX or a CNO type pilot plow. It's very different from most ordinary plows, but these engines have these ones on the front, and then on the back they have these. Again, a 3D printed part. This is, I think they call it a weed cutter plow. So they will be going on. These are 3D printed parts from a company called CMR Hobbies in the States. I will put a link to their website just below. Also, this engine will need some of these. These are ditch lights. Again, 3D printed castings. These ditch lights will be fitted, so pilot mounted ones at the front, and also pilot top mounted ones at the front, and ones that are mounted actually on the fascia of the pilot at the back. These I will be able to put LEDs in and light up, and I will do a little video about how I do that, because people have asked me in the past how I fit working ditch lights to my models. Again, on the front here, it needs a couple of cut bar and multiple unit hoses and brake hoses and that kind of thing, which I have got most of ready and waiting. The only things that I don't have is here it's got some painted on red lights. In reality, they actually work. So I need to drill those out and put some red LEDs in those and create some lenses. And yes, I think that's about it. And of course, once everything's done, we'll give it a nice little weathering job. This loco is not particularly heavily weathered, but it will we'll try and make it look as much like the prototype as possible. So that is my latest acquisition. That was my Christmas present from my wife. Obviously, there were some strict instructions on exactly what I wanted. I found this on eBay. It came from the States. It took about 2 weeks to get here. It is a second-hand loco, but it's, apart from a little bit of chip paint on the handrails, which is easy enough to sort out, it was absolutely perfect. It runs really, really well, especially now it's got a good decoder in it. So that's my new stuff for this month. Well, that's it for this month, folks. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. It's almost the end of the year, and I haven't quite reached my 300 subscribers that I wanted to by the end of the year. I'm about, I think, 15 or 16 shy, but thanks to everybody who has subscribed this year. Thanks to everybody who watches the channel and puts up with my incessant talking. It's been great fun, and I'll be doing more in the new year. So please remember, if you haven't done so already, click to subscribe. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and please feel free to make any comments, and I do try to answer as many of them as I can. But thank you very much. This is Steve, the British Railroader, saying farewell for now, and I will see you all in 2023. Bye-bye.